Welcome back, everybody, to the Words from the Nerds podcast, Absolute Cinema. I am joined on this lovely night by Aiden and Charlie. We are here for our final little episode recording before big boy Aiden up here gets himself married. Little thing happening this week.
My little thing.
We have an episode still coming out next week that we already recorded where we have a ranking where we each ranked the projects within Phase 5 of the MCU. So look forward to that coming out this next week while Aiden is gone on his honeymoon. But for tonight, we are going to be covering Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, as well as the Season 2 finale of The Last of Us on Max. Before we get into it, a couple of little housekeeping things. If you guys want to leave us a comment, any thoughts that you have on the discussion that we have, or just any opinions on any of us, we'll read it out loud. We didn't get any comments last week, but we did get quite a few views. So if you're returning from that, thank you guys so much for coming back and tuning in again. But we will read it aloud, whatever you guys want to say. Of course, hit that like button, subscribe. If you're on an audio listening platform, you can give us a 5-star rating. And also through audio listening platform, you can send us a text message, which is a more direct way to contact us. And again, we'll read that aloud and talk about it on the episode. Mr. Aiden, I got to check in with you first. You're a few days away from the wedding. How are you doing tonight? How are you feeling going into this week?
Oh, man, I am feeling overstimulated. It's been a crazy week. It's been a crazy past couple of days. Sunday, I sat down and I bumped out 17 TikToks. Just sat down and straight grinded. And so, yeah, and I did the same thing today. I've just been straight working, getting stuff done because I'd love to just schedule everything and just not even have to worry about, picking up my phone, downloading something off Google Drive, uploading it. Like, I just want to not even have to worry. I don't think the time zone is any different because it's literally just like it's the Dominican. So I feel like I'm just going to be in Eastern time, I think. But still, I just don't even want to worry about any of that. And so I've just been working on that, watching a whole bunch of Attack on Titan, which, my God, it is just a phenomenal show. It's great. Some of the best writing that I've ever seen. And so these past 2 days, I've been tackling season 2, which is just filled with plot twists left and right. So I was like, I've been uploading every day, and it's not really a show that like you can take something out of every single episode, but I have been. And so they've not been performing great at all. Every now and then I'll get one that goes a little bit crazy. And so I sat down to, start season 2 the other day, and like 3 episodes back to back, kid you not, I was just like, I was screaming, and like some of them I even got out of my seat. I was like, oh my God, this is insane. So it was cool to see like, oh yeah, these are the ones I'm going to be uploading while I'm gone. So like, these are some of the biggest moments in the whole show. So I'm interested to see how those videos perform because, like I said, some perform like crap, others pop off every now and then, moments that people look for. And I just came across 3 episodes filled with moments that are like iconic to the show. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, just working. I got a full day these next 2 days. And so, it's crunch time, baby. I worked on my vows yesterday, and, we're getting there. It's close. I'm very excited. I'm mainly excited because, I mean, y'all know, like we were long distance for 3 years. And so, to have all of and our families are very different. And so to have all my family and friends come meet all her family and friends, I don't know. It's just, I'm mainly excited for like the clash of personalities that are going to be there. And so I don't know. I think it'll be fun. I'm ready to I'm ready to get to the reception because at that point in the day, I know that all there is to do is dance, drink, go to sleep, and then the honeymoon is just calling my name. And like, I have not been, and I was talking to my fiance about this. Well, my wife, we got our marriage license, so we're officially married. But I was talking to my wife about this. I was like, man, we have not had like a vacation where we can just like relax. Like we have not had one of those in so long. So just all my time off that I've saved up from work the past year and a half is going there. So I'm going to get paid for everything. All my TikToks are good. Podcast is already recorded. I just do not have anything. So I'm very looking forward to that. I know that these next couple of days I got a lot on my plate, but I know it'll be worth it. And so, Ben, were you kind of in that same boat? I know we talked a little bit about it, but like I don't think we were doing the pod all that much. So were you kind of like in that same like crunch time week? But because I know you're like a very like this like a type A person.
Yeah. I think we had just started back up the pod because it was right after the stuff at San Diego Comic-Con. So I think we were like a couple weeks in when
Yes, that's
my
right.
wedding happened. But
Yeah.
well, we dated for a long time and had a pretty long engagement. So I think that helped because we did a lot of planning like over a year in advance. But truthfully, I took a back seat with a lot of it, to be honest.
Me
And
too. Me too.
I
Yeah.
I I helped out and I always offered, but things had to be done a very particular way, of course.
Yeah.
And
Dude,
so
same boat. Same
yeah.
boat here.
But I tend to be a person who doesn't really get like stressed about those things because for me, like most of those details, like they're great, but they don't matter that much to me. Not to say I don't like appreciate it, but that's
Yeah.
not what's important to me. So
Yeah.
I felt a lot of the anticipation, but I didn't feel like the crunch time or stress of like the final week. I probably felt
Yeah.
that like the day before, just like rehearsal dinner and then day of. But then once you actually get there, best thing you can do is just enjoy every moment. It only happens once,
Yeah.
and you're not going to be able to replace it. So once you
Yeah.
get there, it'll be great.
When I say I'm stressed, I'm more so stressed for her because
Mm.
she's very much the type. We real quick, we went when we went to go get our marriage license, we had called we had found out that the person wedding us had to be licensed in Arkansas and he wasn't. So if he's not able to, and this is like a week before the wedding. So she's
Mm.
like freaking out. And I'm the same way. I don't get stressed a lot. Like I'm very much like it'll work out. And if it doesn't, we're gonna be fine regardless.
Yeah.
She is a very much like in the moment person. And so she's like calling and she calls my, she's like, I just don't know why I even got married. I just don't even like, we should have eloped. We should have eloped. None of this is worth it. And I'm sitting there like, we're good. We're going to be fine. And then 20 minutes later, he calls us back and he's like, hey, good news. I'm able to do it. And I got it all figured out. And I'm like, we didn't even need it. Like you were good. So I don't know. I'm the exact same way. So
Yeah.
when I say I'm stressed, I'm more so stressed for her because I hope everything goes right for her sake. And she knows that. I've told her that. But yeah, I am something cool happened. We went to go get our vow paper, like the paper we wanted to write our vows on at Staples. And I passed by a journal and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Like I don't need a journal at all. I'm not gonna like use it. I might use it every now and then, but I should probably just grab one because when's the next time I'm gonna step foot into Staples? And I grabbed the journal and it's been sitting there on the counter. And today I had someone tell me they're like, oh, are you excited? I was like, yeah. They were like, if I could tell you one thing, if I can give you something I regret not doing when I got married is buy a journal and write down anything that happens over the weekend that you want to remember because you're not going to be able to remember all of it as much as you think you are, and just jot stuff down so that you always have that. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
whoa, I literally just bought a journal and I had no use for it. And I just did that because it was just an impulse buy. And she was like, well, there you go. Now you have something to use it for. So I was like, wow, that was just like one of those moments where I was just like, man, I don't even know how that just happened, but it happened and it all aligned. So cool things like that. Yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm ready to bang out this episode and, get the week, continue throughout this busy week is what I'm trying to say. So
Yeah, that's great. Mr. Charlie, how are you doing? Probably a little less stressed than Aiden is.
No, I'm actually getting married this weekend too.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pulling up. Like I had to pick and choose, you know.
um, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm always good. Nothing crazy to report. Just work. I haven't been watching anything crazy. Actually, I watched, binge watched really. Had no plans of watching this show on HBO Max, The Pit.
Mm.
I watched Grey's Anatomy. I For like a little stint, probably like 3-4 years ago now, on Netflix. I watched up to like when, spoiler alert, even though it's like years and years and years old now, when Patrick Dempsey's character dies. And like, because after that, it kind of just got boring to me. But not that he was like the shining star of the show, just like, I don't know, the writing just seemed to fall off a cliff for me. So that is to say that I appreciate medical dramas. And I saw the conversation around The Pit when it was happening week to week. But I just didn't think that I'd really care about it. Truthfully, like I like medical dramas, but like I don't love them, and I could go without seeing them. So I had no plans to watch it.
Is
But
it
then,
is this the show that it's like every episode is 1 hour of a
yeah,
shift?
yeah, it's
Okay. Yeah,
all in one day.
my wife has talked to me about it because she works 12-hour shifts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually a good. I'm glad I'm talking about this then. You guys should maybe check it out and see. It doesn't focus so much on the, because she's a nurse, right? Your wife,
Yeah. Hmm.
Randy. Yeah. I think it doesn't. It like there's definitely nurses within the show, and they do have like prominent, like they're in a lot of scenes, and they have like a lot of speaking lines and whatnot. But it definitely focuses more on the doctors. But there are, with that being said, there's a lot of nurse stuff in there, and so I'd be interested to see what she has to say about that. But anyway, yeah, there's like 14 episodes in just this one season, and last week when we were recording our our 2 episodes, my girlfriend decided to start it up without me, which I mean, fine, I didn't plan on watching it, but then she had it on when I was just chilling on the couch one day, and then I looked up, and it was like that thing where like I'm looking at TikTok and I look up, I'm like, yo, what? That's crazy that happened, bro. What? And then I scroll a couple more
Yeah.
TikToks,
Yeah.
and then I start paying attention more and more, and it went from there. We didn't binge it all that night, but we did binge it over the next couple days. So that show's pretty good. I'm excited for season 2. But other than that, just working. Started recording the next YouTube video 2 days
Nice.
ago now. So
Yeah.
a lot of recording to do, but hopefully we'll get this one knocked out faster. I might start streaming again. I don't know. I've said it before. I know, but I might start streaming again. I don't know. Just introductory plans right now. So, but
I forgot to mention there is something else I watched on the topic of those shows that your significant other puts on, and you're kind of like,
Yeah.
This happened last year when season 1 of this show came out, and it's Secret Lives of Mormon Wives on Hulu.
I've seen the
shit
commercials for that
bangs.
one.
It bangs. I'm not gonna lie. It is some good messy drama, and she had it on last year, and I kind of kept looking at it, and then she was like, "I'm gonna watch the next episode at work, unless you want to watch it with me." Oh, whoa, no, we're watching that together when you get home. I'm fully invested now as to why Michaela hates Whitney so much, bro. Like, lock me in for that. So that we finished season 2 of that. Great show. If you like messy drama, you'll enjoy it.
I think we probably will end up watching The Pit at some point, or she'll watch it without me because she's a nurse, but she specifically is a nurse like in the surgical unit.
Okay.
So she deals with surgeries. So she works with cases with doctors and whatnot. So she's in there for operations. It's not just like a post-op caring for patients. So I would be interested to watch it and see what she thought about it.
I will say, with that being said, there's a little there's more of a focus on the ER aspect of it, which like there is some crossover, like there are patients that go up to the surgery unit and whatnot, but it's larger focus on ER stuff. So
That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. As for me, I'm doing well. You guys hear that?
yeah,
Yeah.
That's probably really
that's is that a plane, bro? Is that a jet? Yeah. Okay.
Jet.
That's crazy. I had 3 fly over me at work today too. That was crazy.
the airport is
Real
like
low.
3 miles south of me, like
Oh.
really, really close. So when they take off right overhead. And we have the
How we've
window
never I
open.
feel like we've never heard that before.
I
How
mean, I don't know how often I have this window
Oh, the
open,
window's open, that's why.
but
Okay.
it's really nice out where overnight it gets, it's pretty cool. So we like
Mhm.
having the windows open, which is why it's so loud. I'll close it if I need to, but shouldn't be too bothersome, hopefully. I've been doing well. I watched a lot of stuff this week, actually. I watched all of season 1 of The Bear. Charlie and I were talking about it a little bit. I'll withhold my thoughts just because by the time we talk next in a couple weeks, I might just be fully caught up. I know when we recorded the ranking episode and we were joking about, oh, how are you guys doing? And we were acting like we were 2 weeks ahead of time. And I think I said during that, I just finished season 2. Might be accurate when next week's episode comes out. So I'll withhold my thoughts until I watch more of the show, just because we have other things that we're talking about tonight. Trying to not keep Aiden here too late so he can get his precious little sleep before his big weekend coming up. I also, of course, watched Mission Impossible, which we're going to talk about. I watched the new Final Destination, which I'll give brief thoughts on. I'll keep it really short. Never seen one before, but I realized something about this franchise. And what I realized is you basically have to. I kind of viewed it as like, imagine an action movie, but instead of action, it's just people getting killed in brutal ways. And so, like, for you to enjoy it, you have to enjoy those scenes because those are what are replacing big choreographed action scenes. And um, they do more with like the character work. Like, that wasn't terrible. I think it's pretty good for horror movie standards. And there are crazy scenes within it. But at some point, I'm just like, this doesn't like excite me, I don't go like, oh, that's a cool death scene, whereas I go like, oh, that's a cool action scene. So I don't think that the franchise would be for me. Just not really my thing personally. And there's also like, I don't know how much you guys know about the Final Destination lore, but death is basically like a character where if you were supposed to die but somebody intervened, then death chases you down, and it can follow a
Yeah.
chain within your family or whatever, and it has all of these rules that it lives by. And so there are times where they play into that and they're just like, oh no, you're safe because the rules say so. And it's like, okay, if you set that up and you follow that, then that's an interesting dynamic you can bring into the story. But then there are times where they like bring those things up and then break those rules. And that to me is like, so there are no rules at that point. It's like, if you can break the rules, then there are no rules. And then a lot of this thinking is just kind of pointless and anything can happen. That's what it kind of feels like at some point. So if you guys end up watching it, we'll have a little bit more of a conversation, but just not for me, I think. Simplest way to put it. And then the other things that I watched, my wife and I have been watching through the Marvel Universe again. And so we ended up watching yesterday on Memorial Day. We watched Ant-Man we watched 3 Marvel movies this week. Sunday, we watched Age of Ultron. Then Monday, we watched Ant-Man and then Captain America Civil War. And I used to always have a couple movies above Civil War, like at that point in the MCU, like Winter Soldier or Guardians of the Galaxy. But we watched it last night, and I just sat there and I was like, this is the best one we've watched so far. It is so good. So good. And then
Okay.
just tonight, like literally 15 minutes before we started, we were watching Cars. So finished that. Haven't seen that in a long time. Just throwing that on. My wife is actually sick right now and has been over the weekend. So been watching a lot of movies because of that. So I watched quite a few things.
Nice. I'll have
crazy.
a lot for y'all whenever we get back
Yeah.
from honeymoon. I'm going to be tackling a lot. So
I'm excited to hear about that. Just
yeah.
I know you've said that like you're lining a bunch of things up, but you haven't told us anything, which I kind of like. So I'm excited
Yeah.
for when you come back.
Yeah, I'm gonna prioritize 2025 movie releases, but if there's a moment where we're both just up and I'm not gonna make her sit through something I'm watching. We'll probably watch something else, but yeah, I'm excited to rack up my 2025 list. Charlie, I mean, bro, you got to watch Attack on Titan. You have to, man. You have
This
to
is
at least
never
just
gonna end,
watch
Charlie.
the first episode. I'll tell you this. I don't know
I've
if
seen
I've
it.
mentioned
I've
this.
seen it.
Have you actually?
I just want to say I have a friend who was really into anime, and like
Uh-huh.
5 years ago, he was literally like, I'm going to sit you down and I'm going to show you a bunch of anime. So we watched the first episode of One Punch Man, the first episode of
Yeah.
Attack on Titan, the first episode of, I don't even remember what some of these other ones were called. Just like 4 or 5 first episodes of animes, and just watch them all in a row. And it's like, what am I supposed to do with this? So I have seen it.
He's like, just pick your favorite. Well, I mean, that first episode is just, I actually also watched it a long time ago, and I watched the first episode and I never picked it back up. And then now that I finished One Piece, I was like, let me watch it and react to it. Man, that first episode is insane. I don't see how anybody could like watch it. And I'm not saying like this happened to you, Ben, but like, I don't get how anybody could sit there, watch it, be like, okay, I'm going to start this new show, and not want to just immediately keep plowing through. It's great. Charlie, I think you'll love it. That song with Bruno Mars and Lady Gaga, he literally finished Attack on Titan, and then he was like, I need to make a song about this. And that's where he got that song from. Bro, if that tells you anything about the character work in that show, with the writing of the show, it's great. It's absolutely awesome. 20-minute episodes. I mean, just pop on episode 1. I promise you'll love it.
If I do this, then he's gonna be like, "Ed, bro, you like that? One
Well,
Piece is that times 10." I can't.
No. It is, but here's the thing: it's easier to sit here and be like, "Hey, watch 4 seasons, 20 episodes, all 20 minutes each," and like season 2 is 12 episodes, so 80 episodes in total. Or sit down and watch 1,100. Like, it's so much easier for you to be like, oh, well, this show's amazing. It's 4 seasons. It's light work.
Sure.
Okay, cool. I'll watch it. So that's why I'm like, look, if you're not gonna watch One Piece, cool, I get it. There's no excuse to not watch Attack on Titan. It is that good. At that point, it's just the medium. It's just the medium that the show's in. That's the problem because it's genuinely,
dude.
it's
animation
so
is for kids, bro. I'm not watching that. What are we talking about?
Spoiler, bro.
Attack on Titan is Invincible times 10. Not even kidding.
Oh, okay.
We can move on from that little comment there.
I rest my case.
That's not really a case. You're just saying stuff. Like, that's not. I don't think that's how that works.
He's making a case.
Let me check the court files. It says that in this case. In this case, it says that.
Moving in to our first little topic we have tonight, we have a short list update to give. Not too much has happened. Does somebody have that pulled up, Charlie?
I got
that on lock.
I
believe
I haven't updated it.
I believe the only update is Mission Impossible, unless I'm missing something.
You'd be right, I believe.
Okay, I haven't checked on,
but nothing point-wise.
Yeah, The Last of Us has changed a little bit. I haven't checked on every single thing, but pretty sure most of them are pretty stagnant at this point.
Yeah, I looked earlier and it is.
Yeah. So for Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, last week when we talked, we just had the critic score, which was in the 80s. Ever since we recorded, it has teetered to 79 and then back to 80, just back and forth all week. It has stayed strong at an 80% at this point. Probably one more negative review will tip it into the 70s. And then for the audience score, when it first dropped, I think it was like a 94. It was like a mid 90. And that since has lowered to an 89%. So that nets me a total of 4 points for Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning right now. The audience score could go up a little bit. The critic score could go down. We'll have to keep an eye on it in the following weeks. But I'm kind of consistent with these 4s, which is not like a great sign. But I will just say, and I think I said this the last time we talked about it, but I'm not upset about this for the fact that, like, oh, I'm losing points or whatever, and I'm not getting as many as I thought. I'm more upset about it if it's a worse Mission Impossible movie than we're used to getting with these last few Mission Impossibles. Because if you look at the franchise and the ratings that they get, literally the last 4 are all in the 90s, some of them in the high 90s. So that was more the surprising thing, is like they had a rhythm, and then it seems like they might have lost it with this movie. So we'll obviously be diving more into that in the future of this episode, because we've all seen the movie and we can actually talk about it. But other than that, no big changes to our list. We will have the ballerina scores the next time that we record here in a couple of weeks. We'll have the critic score. Or wait,
We'll have both, I believe.
we will have both. We'll be talking about the movie the next time that we record, which is crazy. So that'll be very interesting, just because there was something that came out saying that, like, for the people who have seen the movie and were going to give their reviews, to hold off on negative reviews. They were basically putting an embargo on negative reviews until right before the film came out. And I'm really confused because, like, I don't know if this is just some weird PR stunt to try and boost the movie, or if it's like genuinely there's a lot of bad reviews, so they're trying to do a little bit of damage control. It's a weird move either way, probably not the best choice to set this movie up, but it does get me very curious for what implication that could have.
Yeah, I think I was talking to Brandon, and I think he said something along the lines of, one of the reviews that he did see was that somebody was like, well, it's weird that they're doing this, because I mean, I think it's like it is flawed, but I think it can be in the same conversation as, like, whatever John Wick movie you think is the worst, it's still not like it's worse than that. So that was one he said he saw leak in terms of quote unquote negative reviews. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It is weird. It is weird, especially with like all of the great stuff I heard about it coming like before it came out.
Yeah.
Who knows, man?
Yeah. I mean, I think we could just see another like Mission Impossible type of score range where we just look at the 80s again. I'm hoping it's 90s. Like, really, that's what I need to feel a little bit more confident. If I could get 6 points from Ballerina, puts me up to 19. Charlie, it's looking good for you. It's looking good.
Well, if you get up to 19 off Ballerina, bro, and I'm just sitting at 20 right now. Granted, I only have one project left.
But I'll only have F1 left. Like,
yeah, but F1, like, I mean, sure, it's a wild card, but like, I do think it's a better, like we talked about, it's a better choice than Superman. So like, there's a good chance that could get you 6 more, and then that'll bring you to 25. And if Wake Up Dead Man isn't in the 90s, I'm cooked. I'm cooked.
I think, like, in my head, I'm like, okay, yeah, it could be close. But then there's part of me that just goes, Ballerina and F1 could both just be in the 80s all around. And then you just need like 2 points from Wake Up Dead Man and you're fine. Like, that's what part of me is feeling right now, is like, I could just be getting these consistent 80s, but I kind of need a little bit more at some point. I did want to check. Did we look at Andor?
I just checked it.
It hasn't moved.
Yeah, it's still the same.
Good. Should move up if anything.
But it's teetering the line though. It just needs to go down. The audience score just needs to go down by 1. So more people who watch it throughout the year. I don't know. Maybe.
No. Andor is
Wait,
fine.
what?
Yeah, the audience. Or no,
Audience
what
is at 88. That you're looking at season one, I
It's
think.
Daredevil.
what was I looking? Oh,
Uh,
Daredevil. Was it Daredevil?
Daredevil is at an 80%.
At an
I think,
80. Okay.
from the
Okay.
critics.
Then I meant
but
Daredevil. Then yeah.
No,
So then-
Andor will not. And the only thing that could happen to Andor really is
Does it go
if
up?
it goes up in the critic by 1%, then I gain another point. But
yeah.
at this point, they're both solid. 97, 88 is like, those are solid numbers.
Sure.
I need to pay off a critic to just write a bad review about Invincible season 3.
This
That
boy
would
talking
do
about cheating,
damage.
bro. This boy talking
That
about
would
cheating.
That would do
I-
damage.
I would love that. I'd live for that. That is the only thing this man holds on all of us.
It is kind of crazy.
Oh my gosh, dude! Listen, like you can be mad that I had a good list pick. All right, like you don't need to be salty and resort to maybe cheating, bro. Because like otherwise, I'd just go to Daredevil right now, make like 10 accounts real quick on Rotten Tomatoes, and give it all bad reviews. You know, and drop Benny down a point with Daredevil. Like, come on, bro. Let's be real here.
You need 10 verified accounts, little bro. You got 10 phone numbers? Huh?
Oh, they have to be verified? Oh.
I think
I don't have a Rotten Tomatoes account, so I didn't know that.
I've never had one either. But it tells you that on the score. It says like however many verified reviews, which means like a verified account went on there to review it. And it's to try to avoid people from like completely review bombing.
Oh, sure, I imagine.
Because you can't have like tons and tons of accounts. You can't do it. You can't cheat like that. Now,
Okay.
Aiden could pay off one critic. That could happen. That's realistic.
That's crazy to me then, that there's people with verified accounts that just go on The Last of Us and just type woke. Like, come on, bro. Like, that's just, you're bringing me down, bro. You're bringing me down just to do your stupid little, I can't think of the word, review bombing. Like, come on, bro. I thought like the whole point of review bombing, I thought was like, yeah, that's what's happening is like a bunch of people getting together and making different accounts, but that just makes it 10 times worse in my mind. That is crazy. That's insane.
Yeah. Moving on from the list, which will be very interesting the next time that we talk, because I think we could see motion on like Andor, Mission Impossible, and then obviously with Ballerina, we'll be in a really interesting spot because Charlie and I will both only have one project left. So we'll have to see kind of where we compare to one another. But that is a conversation for a couple weeks from now. We are going to move on to The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 7, the finale of Season 2. And I got to ask, because in weeks previous, you guys have said that you want me to go first because you guys know more context. Does that still ring true? You guys want me to talk first about this episode?
Yes.
Okay.
I like it.
I don't even know what to think at this point. Like,
Real quick, actually, before you dive in, I just want to point out, because I actually started looking at the reviews of Daredevil, just to go back to the list real quick. Somebody actually put up a review today of Daredevil Born Again. So like it's possible. And it's a half star. It's a half star review. So like it could happen, bro.
We'll keep
Probably
an
take a
eye.
lot, but we'll see.
yeah.
Anyway,
we'll keep
sorry.
an eye. I mean, I've been underwhelmed, and now like I feel like the nail's kind of in the coffin of that for me. Like most of what happened in this episode is just a continuation of a lot of the things that I was not already enjoying and not already caring about. Now, obviously, they do a bit better of a job of bringing it to more of a conclusion where they've ramped things up. And I think there are specific moments where it's like, okay, that's like a moment that I enjoy. But there's also moments that I just don't get, which we'll get into specifics. But there's certain scenes that play out. And it's like, okay, on one hand, Ellie tries to act like she's sympathetic towards some people. And then on the other hand, she's super brutal and violent and not sympathetic at all. And so she tries to play this character who's like, oh, I'm better than you because I care more about these people we should save these people. We should be better and be kinder. And then on the other hand, she's brutally murdering people. Like, it feels like, I don't know if this is just the inner conflict that she's going through, but it really takes away the emotional weight of some of the scenes for me. We'll get into those specifics, but there's just scenes that play out where it's like, you're showing me two different things that conflict with one another. And I don't know if that's like the whole point, that Ellie's conflicted, but it just, for me, it doesn't, like, nothing's really hitting or settling well within that. And then just as for like an ending, it tries to set itself up like this is a really big, significant moment as a cliffhanger for the finale. But at least for me, like, if what is teased ends up being true for the cliffhanger, I don't know, like, for me, it doesn't change much for where we're at that point. Like, I understand it would be, like, significant, but still, we're at this point where, like, the whole goal is for Ellie to take revenge over Abby and the people who killed Joel. And so, like, if you just add more to what Abby has done, to me, that doesn't add more reason to care about what's happening, personally. And all of this stems back to the fact that, like, I don't think the way that they've set up the foundation for Joel's death and then Ellie's revenge, I don't think that was handled well. I know, Charlie, you pointed out you think it was a medium difference just playing it in a game versus watching it in a show. And if that's the case, then it's really unfortunate, because, like, I see a different world where this same story but restructured works a lot better, because it has actual setup and payoff, and those emotional moments can hit harder. And instead, most of the season, I felt like I was just along this journey with Ellie and Dina. After you took out the character that I cared about the most, and then even the cliffhanger, it's like, if that were to be true, I would feel similar to how I felt about Joel's death, which is like, we should have got more of this before this happens. Like, I would kind of, it would just add it on to just like, these things are just happening, and it's what it feels like it's trying to make you care about is Ellie's revenge that she's taking upon the people who have wronged her. But it just doesn't actually hit or work for me. I'm not drawn into that. So if you just keep adding to that pile, it's not going to be like, oh, now I really want her to get revenge. It's not going to add to that for me. And so it's just, I think because of the misstep, now it's just like they're off the path. And I don't know how they come back from it. I don't know where the story goes, obviously, but it feels like as soon as they took a misstep, they veered off and it was gone. So
the misstep for you was killing Joel before seeing all the stuff with Ellie beforehand?
yeah, because everything that has happened since that point, when you view it in the context of we've already seen Joel die, that is what makes everything for me different, which is I don't care as much about what Ellie's doing because we didn't get enough time with their relationship. And now, like I just said with this finale, it's like they try and set up these big moments that you're supposed to care about, but all of it fuels back to Ellie's rage because of Joel's death, which they didn't lay the foundation for. And so if you just want me to care more about her revenge because more people die, you already didn't let me care enough about that. And you didn't let me care enough about Joel's death. So if you add to that pile, I'm just not going to care more. Like, I don't know. I think really the misstep has taken the whole thing overboard for me personally. Like, I genuinely would say that, like, there are lots of entertaining moments within this season, and there are lots of genuinely very good emotional moments within this season. But as a whole, this was like a big miss for me. As like a really big fan of season 1, this was a big miss of a season. And it will be hard upon a season 3 to not reflect back to this season and how everything was set up, which is really unfortunate because of how much I loved season 1. So I'm pretty upset about it. I'm genuinely disappointed in this as a finale, and just like it's more so just the state of the show. I am upset that this is where it's at and where they've decided to bring it to. So I do have more specifics I want to get into, but that's just in general. I'm a little upset. I won't lie.
So for you, one more thing about, so how about Ellie's specific story? I know you talked about it a little bit, but like, regardless of Joel, even though that's why she's doing this, what are your thoughts on like how she may or may not have changed so far on this journey, for you? Like, does that matter to you that, like looking at Ellie from season 1 and seeing this Ellie, is that like a stark change to you, or do you think that is it believable?
Well, I mean, to be truthful, season 1 was a long time ago.
Sure.
And I don't have the framework of the game. So, but when it comes to just this season and how she's changed, like you can tell that there is some inner conflict that's happening for her. Like even in this episode when she almost decides to just give up her mission and go home. But like I said, you have these like moments of like, oh, I can move on, I can live with it, I can try, I can be sympathetic. You have these like positive moments of growth, but then you contrast that with just this rage for vengeance and enacting that, which like I think they, like I said, they try and paint it as like this inner conflict that she's going through, where on one hand she wants to just walk away and move on, but then like when she actually goes through and physically does those things, it's almost, it feels like they're trying to present it as like a, oh, she's conflicted and like this was just spur of the moment in the rage type of thing. But I don't find that for me that like that conflict that she's going through, like I almost don't buy that she wants to be a good person or walk away. Like I buy that she is more taken by her rage than anything else. Like
Really?
But that's because of her actions. And that happens in this episode too. It's like she says things, but then she does things. And usually what you do speaks louder than what you say. And so like for me as a viewer reading into that, it's like that's what she wants. And I'm not saying that that's like, you know, that couldn't work for the story, but when they try to like teeter that line of then portraying her as a better person, I don't always buy that for me, just given the actions.
I think the show does a horrible job at trying to be cautious at making Ellie not likable. And that is so very painfully apparent with the whole like Owen and Mel situation right there. It's just like, man, choose one thing or another. She's either so consumed by this rage that, you know, she goes to these depths and in the moment can acknowledge that she's doing too much, but still like pulls herself out of it to focus on what her goal is, which is getting revenge on Abby for killing Joel, or just don't make her go on this mission. Because what is driving her? If she's so scared and so cautious of upsetting people, like she genuinely sits here and tells Abby, it wasn't on purpose. I didn't mean to hurt them. I just wanted to come get to you. Okay, so what was your plan when you got to her? What is consuming you? If you're so scared of hurting other people, or you're either so full of vengeance that you're seeing red at no stop, like with no stopping, which is what we saw with Nora, or you're just being cautious, which is what we saw with Owen and Mel. Pick a side. Pick a side to write for her character and go through with it. But there are so many obstacles here where it feels like Craig Mason wanted to do this, and then this episode Neil Druckmann said this would be a better idea, but then this episode Craig Mason wanted, and it just, God, it is. I never know. Clicking on an episode, I never know what version of Ellie or Dina we're gonna get. I just don't, because it's something different every week. And I think the show is scared of making her unlikable or making her cross a line.
Yeah. For me specifically, well, I first of all, I'll push back on what you said a little bit, Aiden, with, and I'm going to sound like I'm defending the show, but I very much, like, this season was a humongous sized L. Like, it's insane. I regret putting it on my list for multitudes of reasons, not just the points, but for the quality that this season brought through as well. But I think she was cautious with Nora too, like in the beginning of the altercation. Like, she tells Nora, like, she's pointing the gun at her, like, you don't have to die. Just tell me where Abby is and I'll let you go. And then Nora decides to be a piece of shit and oh yeah, that little bitch got what he deserved, you know? And then chases her down and then makes her feel the pain for saying something like that. But yeah, I do agree with you when it comes to the Owen and Mel situation. In a vacuum, I actually enjoy the scene a lot. I think that it's a great change from the game. If you don't know, in the game, Ben, in that moment, Ellie does kill both of them, but it's intentional. Both of them is very intentional, and Mel is pregnant in the game as well. So in the game, Owen tries to go for Ellie's gun rather than reach for a different gun, and Ellie shoots him in the abdomen, and then Mel freaks out and tries to stab Ellie, and then Ellie pushes her off with the knife, gets control of the knife, and then stabs her in the neck. And then Owen, with his last breath, he's like, pregnant. That's the only word that gets out. And then Ellie turns around and looks at the dead Mel and lifts up her jacket, and she has a baby bump. Versus here, shoots Owen. The bullet goes through Owen's neck and then hits her neck, and then she bleeds out. But again, in a vacuum, wow, what a scene. Like, that's crazy. Like, you're going to cut it out right now and I'm going to talk you through it. And then Ellie's like, I don't know how. What am I doing? What am I doing? She says, cutting the transverse. And then she's like, where the hell is that? I don't know what that is. And she's like, you're doing so good. You're doing so good, when Ellie hasn't even made a single cut yet. Like, dude, that is heartbreaking. That is heartbreaking stuff. In a vacuum. In terms of Ellie's character, and how it speaks to, like, her journey with this quest of revenge, I think I'm in agreement with Ben that there's a fixed point in which, like, things went awry here, went wrong with the writing of the season and specific characters. And with Ellie, I think that I guess I can't point to a specific moment, but just from the very beginning, not putting a focus on her rage. Because I differ from you, Ben, because I think you said that you buy that she wants to do this more. I don't get that. Like, I don't get that from her at all. And maybe that's because I've played the game and I can see the difference between the two Ellies. But like, this Ellie, I see the rage in moments, sure, but it's not a full front of her mind all the time kind of thing. Like, even in the game, there's moments where, like, after the Nora thing, she's distraught. She's like, what did I just do? Kind of like, she questions herself, in fairness. Like, absolutely. Because, like, that's the whole crux of what's happening, is like, she is doing these things and then she's like, wow, holy crap, did I just do that? And then she's like, okay, I did that. So it's like a sunken cost fallacy. I did that, whatever. I still haven't reached where I need to go yet. So I need to keep going. And maybe it's my own interpretation of, like, the sunk cost fallacy thing, but I guess I don't get that sunk cost fallacy feeling with Ellie in the show here. Like, there's a moment, and it happens exactly like this in the game. In fairness, they hear the gunshots and they hear over the radio that somebody's shooting, and they're like, "That's Tommy. We need to go get Tommy." And then Ellie sees the aquarium, and she got information from Nora that Abby's at the aquarium. She goes to the aquarium, but here, and again, in a vacuum, this scene also really enjoyed. Bella did a great job performing it here. F the community. You know what happened to my community? My community died right in front of me while I was forced to watch. Like, I thought that was a banger. In a vacuum, I think that's a banger scene. But that's also a detriment to. Why do you sigh? Why do you sigh?
Well, okay, the in a vacuum is just so important because it's like she says that and then she kills people in another community. It's like you're just as bad as the people that you want revenge on.
Sure. And I want to tell
I
you,
love
like,
that you said that. I love
that's
that you said that.
That's the point of the story, I would say, pretty much. That's the point, is that she, like, and that speaks to what Aiden's talking about. Ellie is supposed to be unlikable, and they're not making her unlikable. They still want her to be happy-go-lucky with Dina and accidentally killing Mel instead of intentionally killing Mel, all those kind of things. Because that is the story of the game largely, is that you're doing these things. It's a lot of people just say that the story is like, oh, revenge is bad, and that's how they sum it up. But like, there's so many interesting and nuances, interesting and moving nuanceical, I don't think that's a word, parts to the story and even the structure of it in the game. And so here with Ellie being enjoyable in this part of her life, the darkest part of her life, it's such a tonal change and whiplash that really just doesn't do anything but hurt the show at the end of the day. And with that scene, especially, I wanted to touch on outside of the vacuum. Oh my gosh, Ben, I feel really, and Aiden and I talked about this last week. I feel really bad that you're experiencing this like this for the first time, because I would have loved to have seen what it was like for you to play the game and experience it that way. Because, like, just before I continue, what did you think about Jesse, man? What did you like? What were your thoughts on Jesse?
I mean, he seemed... I'll be honest, like, I caught a lot from this episode just because he learns about Dina's pregnancy.
Sure.
And, like, this is the most that we've seen him in a long time since the start of the season. So the vibes that I was getting is that he kind of has this, like, better than everyone, like, savior type of complex.
Damn.
It's like he has a purpose and he has good intentions, but he's egotistical about it, and he almost wants to, like, enforce that on other people. Does that make sense?
No, yeah, because that's what I thought you were gonna say. Like, he's a decent guy, but he's, like, really kind of a douchebag at the end of the day, and like, that's not what you get from Jesse at all in the game, bro. Jesse is like, I love the hell out of Jesse in the game, man. And so when that moment happens, he dies exactly like that in the game, running through the door, trying to stop whatever's happening out there, gets shot in the face. Dude, that moment, your heart sinks. And I don't think you feel that here at all with this version of Jesse.
I'm just going to be real.
Like, and I've seen so many people talking about how they went deeper with Jesse's character in the show because they had the time to do that. Sure, Jesse doesn't get in-depth character moments in the game in cutscenes, but part of The Last of Us and the world building within that game is, like, in gameplay moments when you're controlling Ellie, there's moments where, like, you'll be in a secluded room. They go to the library in the game, and they're sitting there looking around. You can talk to Jesse in different points of the library. He talks about his parents and his mom and the food she used to cook. He talks about how, and Aiden sent me this clip so I was able to remember it. He talks about how he tells Ellie, if you would have told me, I would have come with you. He doesn't he doesn't berate Ellie for going without him. He doesn't tell Ellie she's a POS for doing this. He says, I wish you would have told me because I would have gone with you. I love Joel. Or he didn't say I love Joel. I looked up to Joel. He was a good guy. I of course would have come with you. And he talks about his and Dina's relationship. There are multiple moments throughout the game where we get a look into Jesse's life. So all the people that say, I really don't understand that. I think we got less of Jesse in the show than we did. Like, we just got a different aspect, which was never present in the game. This group of people that came through, and there was a girl that he had a thing with, and he almost left but didn't leave. That's never in the game, which that's cool. That's a cool thing, but that's all we get of Jesse. That's the only deeper look into his life that we get, and somehow that's better. He's better explored here in the show than he was in the game. What are we talking about? And I don't know. I don't want to hinge on this too much because we still got Mission Impossible to talk about. Overall, as a season, I think this probably, I don't think it's crazy for me to say that this was probably going to mean the most to me out of all three of us, if it was good or bad. And this is such a freaking letdown, dude. I like the second game more than the first game. And so I loved season 1 and I was super excited for season 2, and I had hope for season 2 and them being able to handle it in the right way. And there's one episode that I like a lot, and it's the Joel one. I don't even like I talked about this back when we talked about it, but Joel's death, that whole episode, cool. There's cool aspects to it. I didn't like that scene. I thought that scene was worse. There's certain scenes that I can point to. Tony Dalton, oh my gosh, bro. Fire. That's a fire edition, Fire edition that was never in the game. Cool things, but I can't say season 1, an entire episode, episode 3, which was fantastic. I can't point to the hospital scene and how well done that was, and the silence of Joel just walking through the hospital and demolishing these people. I can't speak to anything like that because they not only did they not handle events correctly is the term I'm going to use, but that's I probably wouldn't use that term if I could think of a better one. Correctly, but characters themselves, and I get that they're different, and I tried to judge them being different, being written differently. But even at the end of the day, like I keep talking about, they've been showing a more violent Ellie since season 1, and how she's obsessed with violence in a way, fascinated by it. So then, why am I watching her after beating Nora up, regretting it? Why am I watching Ellie feel bad for what she did when she's ever since she was a child, she looks at Joel doing these things and she loves it. She loves it. So that's why I think from the beginning, even back in season 1, they've been writing an Ellie that would not work for the story that season 2 follows. And if that's okay if they were going to take it in a different direction, but they don't. And they try to do the same story beats and have the same character arc for Ellie as they did in the game. But in the game, it was very intentional. Every single step of Ellie's journey throughout killing David, having to chop him to death with a machete, and then having to kill Riley, which that's a little, she had to do that here in season 1, and she did that to David too. But I don't think in those moments, she wasn't, in David's moment specifically, she wasn't as distraught as she is in the game. But I don't know, man. It's, and especially going into what is going to happen apparently now, not until season 4. It's kind of, I don't know that I buy it really. And I feel like they're trying to manufacture it with the conversations that she had with Dina and talking about Nora and everything. But oh dude, and then Dina, I can get into her too, bro. How she just changes her mind about,
literally turns her back on Ellie. What are we doing?
Yeah. changes her mind because she hears why Joel did it. And I made this whole TikTok about how Dina being there when Joel dies is actually good. It can be good because she's going to be able to get over it. But Ellie won't be. But like, and sure, and I do agree with myself. I do agree with myself when I made that and I said that if they had handled it that way. But Dina's not getting over this in a 7 stages of grief or however many stages it is way. She's not doing that. She found out, oh, so Abby was getting revenge for for how she was wronged. So why do I care then? And then just immediately that switch is flipped and she's like, all right, Joel got what he deserved. And then she's done. Like there's so much more nuance to her decision to stop supporting Ellie in her mission in the game. And I say this in the past couple episodes. I'm really trying not to be, but the game. But at a certain point, dude, when one medium is better and it did it better, that's what it comes down to. But the game. I don't know, bro. Jesse, they wronged my boy, bro. I watched that boy die. And I was like, pitiful bitch. I was like, what? Yeah. I'm like, come on, bro. Like, that's crazy, man. I mean, again, there's certain moments, man. There's certain moments where, like, I like their little exchange right before he ran out where he said, like, but then it occurred to me that if I were taken or if I got lost somewhere, you would burn the world to try to help me. And she said, I would.
That just still feels so cheap to me, though. I feels so cheap. And like, no, I'm just saying, like, even in the good moments where if you don't know anything about the context of what you're watching, just a simple line, sure. Yeah, it's great. Like it, but man, like
the entire rest of the episode doesn't support that. Like they're arguing with each other the entire time. He voted no against Ellie getting to go out and do this. Like
it's just I'm just gonna say it's bad. It's bad, lazy writing. It's bad writing. It is very bad writing. To have him sit there and give them that cheap little moment because you know he's gonna die in the next couple minutes. For what?
Dude, that was
just commit to his character assassination. Just commit to it. Let him keep being a douchebag to Ellie because that's what he's done. Literally since we've seen him in this show. Literally since we've seen him, he's had nothing but bad things to say about Ellie or just little jabs. It's not good. But we're supposed to believe that she'll burn the world. Why? He's a douchebag. Like, why? Why would she? Why are you trying to feed us this slop cheap moment because you know he's about to die? It's just bad, bro. They make Ellie the laughing stock. They make her look like a fool in this show. And it just gets to a point. I mean, I've been disconnected from the show for weeks now, and I think one of the big moment was episode 4. I think episode 4 was just all downhill from there. I mean, you could tell me 4, 5, and 6. 6 I can differentiate, but 4 and 5, they're just sitting in the fucking theater the entire time. They're just sitting in the theater the entire time. Like that's it. When I think of those 2 episodes, when I think of the middle of this season, all I think about is those poorly lit moments in that theater with Ellie and Dina, and some half-ass, let me play the guitar and think of Joel and know what I'm going on this mission for. Just for her to not follow through with that the next moment that she gets her hands on one of Abby's crew. It's just bad, man. It's just really bad. The show also just looks bad at some points, to the point where it's laughable. I think the scene with Abby and Ellie, God, like the way that
the editing in that scene is really bad.
Well, the editing's horrible. That failed QuickTime event, everyone's calling it on Twitter, horrible. But that's even crazy. They like pulled out. They did this one shot that they did not use the entire scene, and it's Abby just like kind of standing there in the middle of the screen, pointing the gun at Tommy, and it looks so bad. It looks horrible. And there are so many moments like that. And Charlie, I know you brought up some of the blocking in episode 2 during Joel's death, the lighting in there. I just think this whole season has just took a huge step down of everything that I loved about season 1. The writing, the changes, the making of the TV show, how the TV show looks, it is all so abysmally bad compared to season 1. And
I'd say
so yeah, I
the
mean,
sets are actually really good, I would say. Like the sets were
some,
fantastic, I think. Really, some? Bro, I think
I
like
mean, I don't
the basement looked fantastic. That looks so good.
I don't
And
know.
the theater looked exactly like it did in the game. The
I
inside, the
know.
actual theater part, but not the outside of the auditorium.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how much of that is me actually not liking the sets or me just not liking how they look because of the way it's shot and the way that the
Sure.
show is lit. But man, even the scene of her in that water just getting brushed around everywhere just didn't look good. It is bad.
That was weird too. The Seraphite thing, bro. Like,
Yeah, what's the point?
what was like?
Well,
It was
what's the point of Abby and her fucking obsession with old dudes? Why are we putting stuff like that in the show?
Oh.
What are we trying
So
to
handsome.
tease with her and Isaac? Not even that. The shit with Isaac,
Oh,
where she's
that's
like,
what
"What?
you're talking about.
You're in love with her or something?" And it wouldn't be the first time an old dude, and then he stops her. Why? What are we doing? What are we doing, man?
Yeah, that was a weird line too. That was.
God.
I will say I'm interested to find out what because like that's different from the game too, where he talks about Ellie or Abby is supposed to be the next leader. That's never been a thing, so I'm interested to see that unfold a little bit.
Like it's so hard to care for me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And back to the Seraphite Island thing, real quick. It was cool to find out that they almost put something like that in the game. But at the same time, like this amounted to nothing. It amounted to there was no reason for it because also like how does Ellie get out of it? The alarms on the island go off, and then the one woman's like, "Leave her." Why not just kill her right then and there? Like what? You slash her with the sickle real quick, and then you keep running. Like it takes 1 extra second. It doesn't make any sense. It was dumb, so dumb. I don't know, bro.
Yeah. The one other thing.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say I don't even think we need to do a TV show ranking. This is dead last on all of our.
Oh
lists.
yeah.
No,
it's not even close in my mind.
Yeah,
I'll be honest.
Just get out of the way.
The one thing that I wanted to say is, so I mentioned how like I don't fully buy into the inner conflict that Ellie is going through in this show, the duality between her wanting to move on versus her rage. So one of the things you highlighted, Charlie, was that the scene with Mel and Owen is changed from the game, and in the show it's meant to seem more of like, oh, this is an accident and she feels bad and the baby and whatnot. But I don't buy it because, okay, Owen reaches for a gun, so she's willing to shoot him. So if Mel reaches for a gun, she would just shoot her. Like, it doesn't add anything that Mel got killed accidentally, but Owen got killed on purpose. That it literally does not change anything. It's just like, oh, they both got killed in one shot. But it's like, if Mel had reached for a gun, she would have shot as well. Like, it doesn't actually like make the scene any different or make it seem like it was more of an accident. And so that's part of it is like, she acted sympathetic and, oh, she feels bad because Mel's pregnant and Dina's pregnant and whatever. It's like, that's what they try to sell you on. But she's hunting people down with a gun. And so far, every person from Abby's crew that she's run into, she's killed. It's like, I don't think those things pair together. And you said that's like the whole conflict of, oh, she's enacting rage upon people, but really she's the same as them. She's just as bad as they are. I just like, I don't feel that connection for me where it's just like, oh, this is a really interesting like conflict that Ellie's going through of trying to hunt down the people she hates, but then becoming the people she hates. Like, I'm not getting that at all. And if that's what it's supposed to be, like, I can buy into that story, but I just don't get that for me.
I agree, and I think that's like how they've written her in this season, 100%. I think that they've done a disservice to Ellie in the show compared to the game, and I will say for the game specifically, she kills those same people, Nora and Owen and Mel. in the same ways that she does, other than the accident with Mel. But in the game, it's more like she gives them an out. She says like, I I do not want to kill you. I only want Abby. I will let you live if you give me what I want. And then all of them make a bad decision, and then Ellie essentially kills them in self-defense. But Nora's wasn't really self-defense because Nora didn't really have a weapon. But still, she pissed her off, essentially. I think Ellie's willing to kill these people, willing to kill them if they do something stupid that pisses her off, but she doesn't necessarily want to. She only wants to kill Abby. And then I think in that journey, in that path of like killing these people, even though it's in self-defense, and she sees the collateral damage of it, or the brutal ways in which she does it with Nora, the collateral damage of seeing Mel that she's pregnant, and wow, I just kill somebody who could have been alive, and Dina is pregnant, and imagine if that happened to Dina, and so it makes her sick in that way. In the game, she like starts dry heaving and like she's gonna pass out, kind of thing. But I see what you're talking about. How it doesn't necessarily change the scene because it's if it's an accident or if it's intentional. I think it being intentional just speaks more to Ellie and where she's at in her journey of like accomplishing this mission. Despite the fact, like the sunken cost fallacy, she's like, I have to do this. Like, if you're going to do this, then I have to do this. I'm going to I have to stay alive so I can find Abby. If you're going to try to kill me and stop me from finding Abby, I need to stay alive to find Abby. And you're in the way of that. So, and then she sees Mel being pregnant, who therefore has somebody who was not necessarily in the way, just collateral damage of that. I don't know. I'm rambling, but it's just, the show didn't do a good job of showcasing that with Ellie, and I agree with what you're saying, and I again, it just makes me feel so bad that you're experiencing it this way.
And you were so excited at first that was happening.
Yes,
that we get to talk about it.
I was like, it was the first pick on my list. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. What is this, Aiden? Oh, is this you're muted? Is this the shot that looks?
Yeah.
Yeah, look how awkward this looks. I just think it looks so bad. Like the way she's just like standing there in the middle of the screen. I don't know. It just, God, man, I hate everything about this show. It's so bad. Oh,
yeah, and I feel like they could have just like the cliffhanger could have just been Abby pointing the gun and the gunshot sound going off. We didn't even need to see Abby waking up in the stadium or anything like that. That would have been a crazy.
Yeah, I get what they're going. I mean,
obviously. I get why they did it, but like I mean, I guess this probably would have pissed people off if like we go into the next season and then we open with Abby waking up in the stadium and we're just following Abby. You know, like that probably would have pissed people off. But like, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that much of a change. It's not like Ben, when you watch that, do you think in your mind, oh, the entire next season is going to be based on Abby? Do you think that?
I think a portion of it will be.
Yeah, sure.
It still pisses me off, but
yeah. See, so it's like that. Like, and I feel like it would have been a better cliffhanger. And there's also the discussion of like, I've seen people talk about this, and I think if they're on the ball with this. Is like Ellie never begs for her own life. Like, never once in the game does she beg for her own life. Whenever she begs for life, it's somebody else. It's Joel. It's Tommy. It's Dina. Whoever else. It's never herself, because and the show almost handles it really well. In episode 6 with Joel, Joel sees what she was writing in her notebook. Like, I can't remember the exact phrase, but it was like, you have a bigger purpose or something like that. You have a greater purpose, maybe. Like, Ellie wants to die. She felt like she was supposed to die there. And so now she's kind of like, not suicidal, but she's okay with dying. And so that's why every time where her life's in danger, she's a cynical, like, oh, look at your face. Did I F up your face? Oh, little poor little baby. And like, I don't know, bro. Like, another like mischaracterization, which, like, again, if the show wants to do it differently, fine, do it differently. But stick to doing it differently. Don't add these different character aspects to the character and then try to mix in the stuff from the game that completely counteract everything new you're trying to do with the character in the show. Whatever, bro.
No.
Yeah, her saying, that's my point. Like her saying no, like she wouldn't do that when Abby points the gun at her. Like what the like. That's why I say just end it when she points the gun at her and the gunshot goes off, and we don't have this problem. Not that that's a problem. Not that it's really a problem. It's just people that like the game, like myself, that are complaining about it. But
yeah,
whatever, bro. L season.
Yeah. Lots of good discussions, though, just like from my perspective and you guys with the game knowledge and whatnot. But I mean, I'm glad that this wasn't fully just you haven't played the game difference, and that you guys were upset for your own reasons as well. I mean, that just shows that they have fumbled game fans and they have fumbled people who have never played the games before. So
last thing I want to say too is the way that they like babysit the viewers and kind of talk down to us like we're babies in a way. Like there's no sense of nuance and subtlety to anything that happens in the show. I was gonna make a TikTok about this. I ended up not, because especially after episode 6, I said I liked the porch scene a lot, and I do think it's up there. It's not above the game. It is up there though. I think it's a really good scene, but at the same time, they always have this issue in the show where they either exposition dump super heavily, or they outright tell you what the character's feeling at that moment in time. And like, if you think about it, like that's what they were doing with the therapist character too. Like that was the entire reason that she existed, is to talk about how Tommy's feeling about Ellie in that moment, how Ellie's feeling about Joel, instead of just like showing us. And like that's part of like the visual medium of art, like just the visual medium in and of itself, not just TV shows, not just games, but like showing, not telling. And the game does a fantastic job of that. I like, there's a lot of moments of subtlety that you grab onto and you understand and you run with. Here they just like, they don't trust the audience to be smart enough to do those things, so like they just outright say things to make that be known. And then very last thing I want to say is how rushed it was. And I truly don't understand how they need 2 more seasons to wrap this up, when Ellie's day 1 through 3 in Seattle was literally 3 episodes long. It was 3 episodes long. One where she stopped to finger bang Dina at the end of it, and the second one where it seems like it happens in a 20-minute time span. They leave the theater, fight the stalkers, find Jesse, get in a scuffle with the Seraphites, then go kill Nora. It's over. That's day 2. And then the next episode is entirely a flashback. Good episode, sure. Entirely a flashback. And then the entirety of episode 7 is day 3. And a lot of that is spent just talking with Dina, talking with Jesse, and then the weird Seraphite Island departure for some reason. And so why do you need... They already said also that there's probably going to be more episodes in season 3 than in season 2. And you need another season after that? So why did we rush Ellie's stuff? Why did we do that? And but Abby's going to get 9 episodes. And then we're going to get a season 4. We're going to give her more. Like what are we doing?
It's so,
Turn it off,
it's
bro.
so,
Mission Impossible, bro.
It's so funny how Ben has no idea that like that the game reverts to like you've just been dropping huge spoilers.
That's not. I wouldn't even say that that's a spoiler. I wouldn't even say that that's a spoiler though, because like I'm just talking like it's going to talk about Ellie or Abby. Like it's just going to. And if you listen to the podcast too afterwards, like it said, like they tell you that they're going to focus on Abby. Like it's not.
Yeah, well, I
don't think that's a spoiler. Yeah, sure, whatever. But it's not. If the creators are willing to talk about it, then I don't think it's a spoiler.
But, I just think it's funny. I just think it's funny. If the season were good, I'm sure Ben would be like, whoa, chill. But
yeah,
it's just funny that it's so bad that it's gotten past the point of like spoilers. It's like, no, season 3 is gonna be all about Abby. There you go. Who cares?
Yeah.
So dumb, bro.
But Charlie is correct. We should move on and talk about Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. We're starting with Aiden. I feel like Charlie was yapping a lot, so Charlie, you gotta pipe down a little bit. Aiden, you can go first.
Fair.
I want your thoughts, and then also specifically, did you watch it in IMAX by chance?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
If you noticed anything about watching it in
Yeah.
IMAX, I want you to bring it up because I wanted to tell Charlie about it because he will never get to experience this movie in IMAX.
Yeah,
But
man.
he'll understand at least. He'll get it.
Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. I thought that this was a very good movie. I thought it was a great movie. Tom Cruise is the last movie star, and it's crazy to see like the run that his PR has been on the past couple weeks, because I've had these conversations with Brandon where I'm like, I want to love him so bad, and I do, part of me does, and then you kind of think of the the deeper sides of him and whatnot, but
the less we know, the better. The less we know, the better.
That's what I'm saying. I just continue to be blind to it because God, man, him in this movie, and the run that he's been on doing press for this, it's all great. Ethan Hunt is one of the wonders of the world, and I'm so happy that I got to sit there and see this in IMAX. Now, I will say I probably like Dead Reckoning a little bit more. When I walked out of the movie, I was at about an 8.5 out of 10. There are some things, and I'm sure everybody's been talking about this, but I feel it. I'm not going to not say it just because it's already been said. But first hour, it felt a little too much of. There was a little bit too much hand holding. I get, it's the final movie. You want to have this, huge send off. I think that little sizzle reel at the beginning was awesome. I love that. I didn't have an issue with that at all. It's more so here's this character, boom, boom, boom. And then here's this flashback of them from last movie and how they got to be here and how they got to where they are. Okay, now we're back to the main story. And it just wasn't clicking for me. Honestly, nothing in that first hour was clicking for me until he met with the president. From there on out, I think the movie's a freaking 10 out of 10. Some of the best action that I've ever seen. Jaw was absolutely dropped at every single set piece that they had, including that big plane mission. This is definitely the highest that the stakes have ever been, and that adds so much more to on top of seeing him do all these stunts, which I appreciate, and that is one of the reasons why I love this franchise so much. And back to a little bit more of a qualm I had. That way I'm just knocking out everything in my review. Definitely the weakest crew we've had yet, in terms of like from 4 through Final Reckoning. Definitely the weakest crew. There were choices made with casts and there were characters brought in that I was just like, it just felt cheap. It felt bad to me. And to avoid any spoilers, it's just like, all right, let's do something with this character and then bring in a hot younger version of this character and like just throw him in there and have him do absolutely nothing the whole movie. And so, I missed I miss the character that they did decide to do those things with. I miss older characters from, past movies. I still think killing off Rebecca Ferguson is just like an absolute fumble. But, looking past all of that, I'm still able to look through and come across, this being an absolutely ride to be on. And a great one at that. So even though I do have some issues with that first hour, there's still things I like in there. But if anything was going to bring my score down, it's definitely some of the stuff they do there, some of the choices with the cast. But man, that's like what 50 minutes of the movie, and then the other 2 hours, genuinely some of the coolest shit that I have seen in a while. It's awesome. The aspect ratio changing for the whenever he gets into the submarine. Oh my God, man. It's just like an absolute ride. I was so immersed in it, on the edge of my seat the entire time. And yeah, I think I'm at a solid 8.5 out of 10. If I had to log it on Letterboxd, 4 out of 5 stars. I think it's great. I'd love for him to keep pumping out more of these, but You know, I love, and if he's not going to, find somebody that will commit as much as he has the past 30 years and do a James Bond situation. So, yeah, I thought it was great. What did I miss the IMAX? What IMAX were you talking? Because the aspect ratio changing was the biggest one for.
Well, it was just
me.
specifically how it happened, because Charlie would never know. Because okay, obviously IMAX, the aspect
Was
ratio
it the
changes.
water?
No, so what happened is
filling up?
you must not have noticed this exactly.
Yeah.
So there's the scene where he is all suited up and he has to turn the crank for the water to start coming in.
Yes.
And he does 2 cranks, and as he does each one, it slowly
gets wider.
Yeah, dude.
That's
cool. Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything special. So that scene is fully in IMAX after that point.
Oh
underwater.
My God, man.
And then the only other scene that's like fully IMAX is the airplane scene, like towards the end. And they don't do anything special for that. They just at some point transition just to the full screen.
The final run with the sun in the back, man, tears almost came to my eyes. I was like, oh, this is it. Like I'm happy that I can look back at these and tell my kids, like, I was in the theater for that and I was in IMAX. I know it's nothing like that virtual 4DX35 that y'all have now, but I was in there for the real IMAX when real movies were being made.
Yeah. I feel I'm a little conflicted on this. I didn't know that you were going to be so high on this movie, Aiden. I'm not going to lie.
Wow.
I'm definitely quite a bit lower than you. I still like this movie, but this is definitely like a really big miss in comparison to the run they've been on since Ghost Protocol. Like if you compare this to the previous 4 movies, Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, Fallout, and Dead Reckoning, I think this is like the clear bottom of all of those. This is below all of those.
Which I agree. I just am so high on all those other movies as well. So this is definitely still my least favorite of the newer. Yeah.
I think the first like 50 minutes, hour is just a soggy mess. Like the way it's edited, the way it tries to kind of nostalgia bait. And the problem with that is like, that is our setup for what happens the rest of the movie. So I agree, like the underwater sequence, those like 20 minutes or 30 minutes, however long that scene was, is one of like the coolest things that I've ever seen in my entire life, right? Like that is just incredible, top tier filmmaking, incredible stuff. And same thing with like the plane sequence. It's like, this is awesome. This is great. But I think the problem is that when you put that inside of a movie where you have a messy story and you don't have as good of a team, it doesn't hit as hard. Because in my opinion, like you can look at the stunts that happen in a vacuum for what they are. And that's a great way to look at them. But I think if you look at them in the context of where the characters are at and where the story is at, that's what can make it hit even harder. Like in Fallout, when Tom Cruise is like holding on to the bottom of a helicopter as it's flying away, it's like, yeah, that's a sick stunt that he's hanging from a helicopter. But it's crazier given the fact that they've built up this amazing story and the stakes are there and they feel incredibly real. And at least for me, because of how messy the setup was in this movie, I actually didn't feel the stakes all that much, like especially towards the end. And I was talking, so I watched this movie with John. He liked it even less than I did. He was really upset about this movie, which is unlike him. Usually for him, an action movie, if it delivers on the action, he's pretty pleased. And for him, he was like, yeah, this was just not it. But he said something interesting. We were kind of theorizing of like, what would have made the ending feel like it had higher stakes? And one of the things that we said, truthfully, and I guess we're getting into kind of spoiler territory here at this point, but
yeah, I want to say something before you go to Charlie, but yes,
they should have killed Ethan Hunt, in my opinion. and specifically how it should have happened, because he's in a plane with Gabriel, who's supposed to be this very smart, calculated villain, knows everything that's happening. And Gabriel says, I have the last parachute. And then Ethan Hunt just goes to the front and gets another parachute, and it's fine. And so it's like, what I think should have happened is, like, you can give him the parachute and that's okay. You can overlook that, whatever. And it catches fire. There's always a backup parachute. I don't know. I think personally they should have taken out the fact that there was a second parachute, because Gabriel would have known that. He's a very smart villain. He would know about that. He wouldn't give Ethan that easy of an out. And so then it's kind of Ethan is hanging onto the plane trying to click the device into place. The plane catches fire. He starts falling. And it's kind of this like mental, like trying to figure out a way to survive, but also trying to lock in the kill switch. And at some point realizing that like he has to make that sacrifice and make that choice to lock in the kill switch, but sacrifice himself, go out to save the mission. Just like, I feel like that would have worked and would have hit. And instead it feels like, oh, our villain is actually kind of stupid and Ethan is given a pretty easy out and there aren't real stakes. Same thing with Benji. I thought Benji straight up died in the vault. Legitimately. Like when he tilted his head to the side, I thought he was a goner. And because of his collapsed lung or bleeding out or whatever combination of injuries that he sustained, nothing happened. The couple from the guy who was in the first Mission Impossible movie, as well as our basically double agent who just hopped onto our team somehow.
God, it's so annoying. It pisses me off.
And then, like, we don't even see the explosion and all of them are just fine and they survive. I thought there was going to be some sort of moment of like, the husband sees that the wife isn't running fast enough and he like pushes her to save her or something. Like it just felt like, I know the whole thing is like, oh, it's Mission Impossible, but then everything always works out for the better. But it's like at some point, make it feel a little real that like people can die. It happens. And instead, it actually feels like everyone just kind of gets an easy out. You know, it doesn't feel like the stakes are incredibly high. Even though they were like, oh, the entity is threatening nuclear war or whatever, which like I just never bought into that either. It's like until they show that the entity actually starts throwing nukes and causing some damage around the world, it's not like, okay, it's a potential threat. I thought for a second that there was actually going to be some nukes that were going to be sent. And I was like, okay, like they're upping the stakes. But no, they're not going to do that. So for me, like, barring those two action scenes being like incredibly cool, a great moment between Ethan Hunt and Luther, other than that, like, I think really the first hour just set it up for failure. Like the editing, the pacing, all of that was just such a mess. And I think that got a lot better in the final 2 hours. And having just those incredible set pieces and action scenes is like, obviously that's just great cinema. But I don't think I never found that it fully recovered from the first part of the movie, from the first hour. I think it kind of just faltered and then it never really fully recovered. And I was just never bought back into it. So for me, this is a letdown. I still give it a 7 out of 10 for me, but like,
wow.
I'm used to giving Mission Impossible movies like 9s or sometimes 10s. Like this is supposed to be like the premier action franchise basically. And so to have the final one be disappointing is definitely a little upsetting. So I still enjoyed it. It's just such a mess. I would be curious to rewatch it to see if I could pinpoint more of like what it is in their setup in the first hour that made the rest of it just like never fall back into place in the way that it was supposed to. But
I think, man, I honestly think, and if we're just getting into spoilers before Charlie's review, I think killing Luther is just a horrible decision. There was just no need for it, just to bring in someone that has infinitely less sauce than him and just adds nothing to the crew at all. And that's that dude that is partners with that guy in the CIA or whatever they work for. He's just, I don't know, it's just so bad, man. There's a trope for characters like him that I absolutely hate in movies, and I still don't know what it's called, but it's just like that random person that's inserted because they're hot and they just like crack a couple jokes, or they're just there for reaction shots most of the time. That's it. They just, like, if you think about it, they killed Luther for someone that's just younger. They killed Luther, or they killed the old black man for a young black man. Like, that's really all it was. And it just feels like such a disservice to the crew and to the heart of the crew. So I absolutely hated that. The way they shoehorn his partner, the white CIA agent, or whatever they are, to be like, yeah, my dad was the one that you killed in the first movie. Like, I gotta keep on his legacy and show that he's not that he was never crooked. And it's like, all right, dude, like we've done so much hand holding this movie. Like, you're gonna do even more to try and call back to previous movies in the franchise. It's like you're calling back to the ones that we do not care about the most. Like, where's Jeremy Renner? Like, revive Rebecca Ferguson's character. Show me the people that I actually give a shit about. And then the other thing was that everything with Gabriel, I think his name is, I don't know if that's him or his actor's name. That is his name, Gabriel. Why is he just like going on this, like, why is he going on this game of cat and mouse with the algorithm for the entity? This, like, what is the point if you don't get that back in Ethan Hunt's hand? The whole world is gonna explode. So even if you get away and Ethan Hunt dies, cool, nukes are still gonna go off everywhere. So it's either you get away from Ethan Hunt with your algorithm and nukes go off and explode the entire world, or you get the shit back in his hands and things are fine. Like, I don't know, like him just like running away with it just felt so like, oh, we need to find a way to get this plane scene to happen, or we need to find a good driving factor. Let's just have him run away with it. And it's like, for what? Like, things are gonna, even if he gets away, things are all gonna go to shit regardless. And then the way he was just green screened on there, it's just so funny. It's just like you have Tom Cruise like risking his entire life, and then he's just green screened like hanging off a plane. It's like, all right, man, commit, just commit, go up there with him. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Is just like, yeah, he's supposed to be talked up as like this smart villain and whatnot, but it's, I don't know, his motives just really I didn't understand. Like, I just could not connect with him as a villain. I mean, he's fine, he has charisma, but yeah, I just didn't. And I'd be happy to be corrected, because it's been a week since I've seen the movie. Somebody can tell me, oh, he has a device that he was going to plug the algorithm into. I don't know, but as far as when I was sitting there watching the movie, I just thought, I was like, even if you get away, this the entity is going to blow up the entire world, or has control of all the nukes. It doesn't matter regardless. What are we doing?
Yeah, I'll just say briefly, just in response to that before Charlie goes, but the reason why I think they faltered his character is in Dead Reckoning, he is like such a mysterious but calculated villain, kind of like a Joker type villain, of being able to have control and predict things because of the knowledge that the entity has given him. And then this movie starts off by saying that the entity doesn't trust him anymore, and he basically just becomes this almost like they call Joker an agent of chaos, when in reality Joker is more in control than you'd think. And in this movie, he really becomes an agent of chaos, where like he's just along for the ride. He doesn't feel like this threatening, calculated villain anymore. He just feels like he's there causing chaos. He's just another bad guy. Like it really takes away the draw that I think he had in Dead Reckoning. Not that he was ever like a super great villain or whatever, but they definitely, I think, made him worse in this movie.
I agree 1,000%.
Mr. Charlie?
Golly, you guys done? You're through a little powwow. Yeah.
Give me your score. Give me your score. Just give me your score.
7 out of 10. I'm with Ben.
Okay,
I'm
okay,
with Ben.
cool.
7 out of 10. Yeah, man, this is this is talk about a disappointment. Like, holy cow, dude. For me, like, you want to talk about like where it went wrong in the first hour or so. I mean, there's the whole scene, and I talked about this before the movie came out, because I was like on the podcast. I think I was like, if this is like Chuck, where he's like getting information from this thing, but when he gets in that case and then talks to the entity, that whole thing felt like so fantastical. It did not feel like it was part of this franchise or it belongs in this franchise at all. It took me out of it so much. The only thing I didn't like about Luther dying was like, why was he bedridden and sick? Was that explained in Dead Reckoning? Like, I don't recall that. I don't remember that. And we find Luther on a very sickly Luther, and so he's stuck in this spot. And also, like, the the way that Gabriel gets the dead key or whatever, we see in a flashback before Ethan goes to this party to find Gabriel. Luther's like, here, man, you should take this. And Ethan's like, nah, man, you keep it by yourself in this little bunker thing with one other person that's a nurse that isn't trained or anything like us. You keep this very important thing for some reason. I won't hold it. I don't need it. Not that it matters, because like he got captured by Gabriel, and if he had it, then Gabriel still would have got it that way. But still, it's just kind of like a laughable, like, why? It doesn't. What's the logic there? I don't even know if I think that it was like the scene with the president that like maybe like turned the movie on for me, because Aiden said that was the moment.
For me, it was like when the action scene, like him on the submarine, like it wasn't a story beat that locked it back in a little bit. It was just like okay, they found a better flow. We're not in this like crazy hyper editing going all over the place with the story and the characters and the flashbacks, the nostalgia. It was just like we're locking in for one scene, and then I feel like it was just better paced after.
Keep cooking, Ben. Let's go.
Shut up. You already said the president thing is what brought you back in, boy. Shut up.
No, yeah, because I think that's the moment. Like when he gets on that helicopter, like after he's talking to the president, he gets on that helicopter and goes to the base. Like from there on out, I'm like, okay, cool. We got our mission. We know like he has to go down there and then he has to go here. Like, cool. Now we're in the flow state. Whereas everything before that, I was just like, what are we doing? Like,
yeah,
we're jumping back, we're doing flashbacks, flash forward. Like, what's going on?
I think for me, it was probably when he sat down and started telling the plan to the captain of the George H.W. Bush.
Goat.
Wait.
Oh, I'm talking
about the heli.
I was like, what? Who's your goat who was piloting?
Because I was gonna say
there was two female pilots that I don't recognize.
No.
Well, no, that's not even what I was talking. I'm talking about the captain of the aircraft carrier. That's who I'm talking about.
The blonde girl,
the blonde woman. And when he said that, I was like, wait, has Aiden seen Ted Lasso? Because that girl's she's on Ted Lasso. She's a big character in Ted Lasso.
I thought you were talking about Tremel Tillman, my goat.
Yeah,
because that scene where they're describing the plan and it's like cutting back and forth. That's Mission Impossible to a T, bro. And they're like, the plan is Ethan's gonna die and he's gonna stay alive because it's so cold down there. And then they're just like, that's your plan? Like, I was like, dude, like, this is all right, bro. I'm in. We're cooking now.
They should have said that sounds impossible.
Okay,
yeah, that would have brought the movie up.
Ooh, hey, go get married, buddy. Go get married, buddy.
Yeah,
get out of here. Go get married. But I mean, for me, a lot of the issues that I have are like, I agree with Aiden when he says that like this is the weakest team that we've had in a Mission Impossible movie. But I don't think it's because of the characters in it. They didn't focus on them. Like, dude, they were separated the entire movie. Like, what kind of I think that they did that to try to add to the stakes, but like it didn't at all. And it just it made it feel so disconnected. Like, what? I love the moments of in Fallout watching Ethan sprinting after Henry Cavill's character, and Benji's talking him through it. Like, turn left here. He's like, I have to jump out a window. What? Why do you have to jump out? Like, that stuff is cool. Like, that's what I'm here for. I'm here for the team dynamic, and
Yeah.
the team is completely separated.
Ethan's basically on his own, like this whole
Exactly.
movie.
It's and that's not interesting. Nothing about, like, I love Ethan Hunt, and like you said, the action scene on the submarine, really cool. And then matching that up with the action scene on the snow island, the snow island. Yeah, that's cool too. But having them, like, the editing in that whole scene was cool as well, don't get me wrong, but still having them disconnected like this just did not do any sort of service for the movie. And to talk more about the team, Palm Clementif, her character in this, like, she's so much better in I already thought that Dead Reckoning was a slept on Mission Impossible movie, and like I feel like this just kind of like vindicates that in a way. Like, she has so much more to do in that movie than she does here. Like, she's just like, I want to kill Gabriel, and she's very accomplished at what she does. Like, she's a very like capable person in a fight scene. But beyond that, like, she doesn't really have anything to do here, and she saves Benji, I guess. And then, yeah, like, you guys have already said everything that we need to say about that guy. I don't even know his name. The guy who's the partner with old Buddy Boy, old son of the villain in the first one. I don't even know his name. Like, he's just not important. I didn't really have much of a. Did you guys say you had an issue with the guy from the first movie being on the team? I didn't have an issue with that.
Oh, no. Sorry,
okay.
I thought you were talking about something else. Sorry.
No, I'm talking about that guy. I'm just saying, like, if you had an issue with him being on the team, like, I wonder what that issue is. I guess I didn't hear it.
No, what I was saying was I hate to keep calling him this, but the new black dude on the team, his partner, like, I just didn't even know what I was saying. His partner, the white dude that is talking with Ethan, him being like, my dad was,
Gotcha.
My dad was a guy from the first movie, if you remember. And it's just like, why are we just shoehorning this, like what Ben called it? Why are we just doing this nostalgia bait for no reason? Just because it's the final movie. Like, that's what I had a problem with. I
thought you were talking the CIA. Yeah, I thought you were talking about like the CIA Langley guy or whatever.
No.
And I was like, I didn't have an issue with him. A little like jokey stuff that just didn't land for me. Like, that went on way too long. It felt like I was watching a bad MCU joke. Like, when Haley Atwell is about to start guiding the Huskies on the ski, and the woman who doesn't speak English is like, ooh, or like, she's like speaking in her language, telling her like, these are the words you have to say to the wolves, and like, I get what we're doing, and like, it got old really quickly. But
I still don't like Haley Atwell's character at all.
See, and here's the thing. I think she's a lot better in Dead Reckoning. She has way more to do in Dead Reckoning. I thoroughly enjoy her. In this movie, it was almost like they lost the chemistry that they had, her and Tom Cruise, in between the two films, almost, to me. Like, the one scene that I thought that they had a lot of chemistry was in the decompression chamber, where they're like actually like cuddling up to each other. But I couldn't get a read on like if they're friends. Ethan doesn't want to take it too far. Like, I don't understand what we're doing here. And I just feel like, I know everybody's been beating this drum, but like Rebecca Ferguson, like, that wouldn't have been a problem, like, that wouldn't have been a problem with her. But Haley Atwell, I think she actually does a really good job in both of these movies. I just think she has infinitely less to do here, and it's just I think the whole team has less to do, and that's like, it's so bad. Like, it's bad for that reason. And if I'm being honest here, this is might get cooked for this. The plane thing, it was cool. But I don't know. I think and I feel bad for saying, because it feels like I'm like to some degree, like I'm a CGI lover over like real practical stuff like that, because the plane thing was like pretty much entirely practical, but like the underwater stuff, I know they filmed a lot of it underwater and like most of it underwater, but like I think like the giant dude, when he opens the door and you see the gigantic Russian submarine right behind them, like dude, I was in, and then he has to like swim out and try to dodge the propeller, and dude, I was like, yo, I am in for all of this. And then when I'm watching the submarine, the submersible like spinning while he's inside of it, bro, that whole dude, the underwater sequence, that was the best, like one of, if not the best thing I've ever seen in a Mission Impossible movie. But then the plane thing, I don't know, it got old to me really quickly. I don't know, like it was cool, it was really cool, but like maybe I was like, dude, this I feel like Top Gun Maverick was better. I don't like. Granted, that's a different plane thing. They're doing different things. I get it, but just I don't know. Watching something about watching Ethan struggle to grab each thing of the airplane. I was like, all right, can you just get to the guy and do the thing that you need to do? Like it was annoying after a bit for me. And I agree with the parachute thing. And I also think that Ethan should have died. And I thought it would have been really cool and really like sad if he had to fall to his death. Granted, pretty gruesome to think about, but like he has the dead key and the thing, the hard drive that he has to connect together. As he's falling, he knows he's gonna die. He has to do it quick, put it in there, and then they get it done, and he falls to his. Dude, that would be a banger to me. Like that'd be a banger, you know. But they don't want to do that, even though this is the last movie. They said this is the last movie, so why not? Like, why not just do that? You killed Luther, and you backed out of killing Benji too. But whatever, you know. The ending as well, like with that whole thing, it felt very rushed. Yeah, like what the bomb thing happens, we don't see it go off. I agree, like that was kind of dumb. I like there's certain things that I enjoyed, like little aspects. Also, yeah, they're being held down by I forget his name, but the CIA guy and his people. Like he got them all tied up. He's like, we're not leaving here until Ethan tells me what his plan was, and then Gabriel just has more guys. Like that's how they get out of him. Gabriel just had more guys elsewhere that this CIA guys didn't find, and so Gabriel's guys just start taking out the CIA guys secretly. And it's like, I don't know, dude. There's nothing super interesting happening here, and I don't know. I don't want to ramble on too much. Like 7 out of 10, movie's good. Probably one of not my least favorite. Mission Impossible 2 is not good. 2 is really bad. Yeah. I'd probably put it above 2, and and I think but this is still good. Like that's if anything, that's what I can say is like, even though it's the second least favorite for me, it's still really good. The only bad one I think is Mission Impossible 2. So yeah. Good for this movie. It sucks that that it went out on this kind of note though for me. So
yeah, I agree about, to an extent. I agree with the plane sequence where it's like it is cool, but like I wouldn't hold it in the same conversation or anywhere close as the underwater sequence for me.
Yeah, I think that's leaps and bounds. So good,
and so many other sequences in this franchise that I would put above the plane sequence. Which, by the way, you mentioned Top Gun Maverick. I also watched that this week, which I forgot about.
Yeah,
great movie.
Oh yeah, you told us. Yeah.
And actually, Christopher McQuarrie, who helped produce Top Gun Maverick and also has been the main director on these movies since I think Rogue Nation, he apparently says that they have a story for the third Top Gun. So
yeah, they just said that today, right?
Yeah, that might be what Tom is doing next now that Mission Impossible is done. One other little thing that you just reminded me of, but the other thing, like having the bomb down there when they're trying to like, trap the entity and they're trying to defuse the bomb. There was also something weird about that dynamic where it's like they don't show you the bomb, but it's like the bomb almost doesn't matter because the entity is the important thing. It's like if they fail that part, then they're gonna explode anyways. So like it almost tried to be like, oh, another layer of they have to they have to somewhat deactivate this bomb, or it's going to blow up in a bigger radius and whatever. It's like, well, at some point we're just screwed anyways. Like, why do we need this extra layer of thing that you're not even going to show us, that nobody dies from? It just doesn't, like, it's kind of a useless addition in the grand scheme of things. It just doesn't actually add stakes, even though it like really seems like it's trying to.
Yeah. I will say, speaking of stakes, I will say it kind of worked for me when seeing the entity start to grab all of the nukes from every country, and when they finally get right before it gets the US, and then watching the president having to like make the call of like what city to blow up. I don't like that we don't find out what city they would choose. That
Oregon,
felt very
some place in Oregon, probably.
I feel like, because they said that we got a list of like of cities that you could choose from, and it felt very like Top Gun Maverick to me, like where there's just like not just Top Gun Maverick but Top Gun as well, where there's just nameless fighter jets that they don't belong to a country. It felt very much like that. It's just kind of like a cop out thing, but I mean, at the end of the day, that's fine. It's not that big of a deal. But the stakes worked for me when Haley Atwell's character has to like grab it out of the thing, like having to do it within the blink of an eye. I thought like that kind of worked for me. I didn't actually believe that it would happen, in fairness, also, because like you said, the only imagery we get of like cities being blown up is again in the fantastical sequence, which I don't think is something that this franchise would ever do. Typically in any other movie, when the entity's showing him visions of what would happen. I don't know. It felt like it was missing that one little thing, like, hey, let's have the entity show its power. Because like they established the fact that it doesn't want to blow up the entire world until it knows that it's safe. Okay, have it blow up something, blow up little bits and pieces, you know? And also though, like, we didn't play with the fact that the entity can control media at all in this movie. Like that was a big aspect of Dead Reckoning, I feel like. But
they tried to portray that like in the opening of the movie.
Yeah.
And then it just didn't really lead anywhere.
Yeah. They didn't do anything interesting with it. Like you could have, there's so many different things you could have done to like with Ethan's character and the crew and whatnot. And it ended up being nothing. Like, and that's a nothing detail. And also, with that being said about the entity not wanting to blow up the world until it knows it's safe, what if Ethan just didn't? Like, even if he was like actually, if they didn't have a plan to store it in this little drive thing, what does the entity do then? Like, if it's not going to blow up the world until it's safe, then it can't get in the Doomsday Vault. It just sits there, and nobody can control their nukes? Like, I don't get it. Like, what's the stakes there then? Oh, if Ethan just does nothing and Gabriel doesn't get the hard drive, they just break the hard drive. The entity exists and it can control the nukes, but it's not going to launch the nukes because it can't guarantee that it won't be destroyed as well. So
they almost just like the team should have just left the vault. Like Ethan got a safe distance away from the bomb. Everyone just leaves the vault, let the bomb go off. Vault is gone.
Yep. And then the entity will not blow up because like now the entity has nowhere to be safe. So the entity would be killing itself as well. And they established for some reason the entity does not want to do that because not for some reason. They say that the entity wants to build the next civilization and enslave it or whatever in its own way. So it can't do that. It kind of it collapses on itself, their own plot. So it's like another reason why it's really not very well done. And I don't know if that's because like I know that they were filming this with like the strikes and they had to take breaks with writing and everything like that, and so maybe a lot of things got added in a short amount of time. I don't know, but bit of a bummer, mate. Bit of a bummer.
On another topic, did y'all see Natalie from Severance make a little surprise cameo in the movie?
Who the hell's Natalie?
The board says hello. The light-skinned curly hair. She was
the pilot.
The pilot, yeah.
Yep.
And I thought it was cool only because I think Christopher McQuarrie said that he casted Tremel Tillman after watching Severance. So I can only imagine that he was also like, oh, I have this spot. Why not throw Natalie in there too? So I think that's cool, just seeing as like he probably gravitated towards those two actors watching the show and was like, I want to find a spot for both of them in my movie, and was able to do that. Whole theater popped for Tremel Tillman. He got deep, like, bro, I feel like everybody just like woke up whenever he came on screen, because like every scene that he's in, every line that he drops got the most laughs out of everyone in our theater, which just made me feel so happy. I was just like, oh my God, I literally love this, that everybody here. I even heard like someone next to me was like whispered to their husband. She was like, "It's Mr. Milchek." And I was just like, oh my God, this is awesome. I love it. So, I mean, there's that. We got, Tremel Tillman was awesome.
That was a cool line too. He's like, "You came to find somebody to poke the bear. You came to the right guy." That was good.
Yeah.
If you're insinuating we're gonna poke the bear, we're gonna poke the bear. So whatever he said.
Yeah, I liked some of the new supporting characters, underutilized, like Nick Offerman. And just killing him off to act like that adds stakes. It's like, kill someone else off and leave him. Like, what, it's a death for no reason, basically.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. Whenever he asked that guy for his gun, I really thought he was like insinuating that he was gonna go like off himself. And so that moment I was like, oh man. But then it's just, I mean, he just had it for no reason, just for that moment to fire.
I actually thought that he was in support of the entity, or
I thought,
chaos,
that
he was going to force the president to set off the nuke.
Something other than
instead you just have a rando
Yeah. Well, I mean,
that's a rando who wants the entity to win. It's like, I don't know. Why have so many characters in the equation, but then you just have some random security guard be the one to pull up on the president?
That's the thing. Like, it doesn't feel like they just don't utilize characters or plot lines that I feel like they should be. Like, it's the same thing with Buddy Boy, younger Luther that they wanted to bring in. It's just like, could have been anybody.
Sorry, you finish your thought. I just had a crazy thought of how they could have added stakes with everything we're talking about.
No, yeah, just that, and like same thing with Nick Offerman. Like, that's why, like, whenever it happened and he was like, "Give me your gun," and the guy's like, "Excuse me, sir." He's like, "Just give me your gun." I was like, "Oh man, it's getting that deep," because I'm sitting there putting myself in his shoes, and I'm like, if I were in this situation where AI took over the world and like was threatening nukes, and I knew that there was no way, like, there's nothing I can do, I have to surrender to this AI, I'm offing myself too. Like, it just added so much like dread to what was already going on. And then again, it literally goes nowhere as to why he wanted that gun. It just comes up later so that he could be the one to shoot that guy because because he has the gun. Like, oh my God, it's so bad, especially just thinking about like The Last of Us season 1. And it's just like, man, do something with the character. Oh my God, what are we doing? All right, your point, Charlie.
I was gonna say, like, dude, with the entity and how it can control and manipulate things to make him look like one way, even though they're not. Have it do that to one of the countries that it hasn't taken over its nukes yet, bro. And the country starts, like, let's say it starts telling the country that the U.S. is about to launch its nukes at every other nuclear silo just to try to have their back, which is what they seriously consider in the movie. But let's say the entity tells that specific country that the U.S. is about to do that way before the U.S. is considering even doing that. And then that country therefore launches their nukes to try to beat them to it. And then maybe not at the U.S., whoever they do it to. And then we see the nukes go off on some country. And the entity caused that to happen, bro. Instantly more stakes. And you tie in the entity being able to manipulate media in however it wants to, and the nukes being the nuclear fallout of the world and everything, the potential of that, dude. Come on, bro. Put me on the writing team. This is crazy. This is crazy.
Get this man as far away from the writing room as possible.
Yeah. Any other final thoughts on Mission Impossible? I don't got anything else. I definitely want to watch it again at some point. Probably not like super soon. but just like it's on my list of I want to check it out again to see if it changes how I feel or kind of solidifies it. But anything else from you guys?
Man, no, that's about it. Shout out Tom Cruise. Shout out Tom Cruise and shout out his PR team this past week trying to sway me to fall in love with him. Come on, man. What are y'all doing? Stop making it work.
With that being said, like I mentioned earlier, next week we have an episode coming out where we rank all of the projects in Phase 5 of the MCU. Watch if you want to see some terrible Charlie takes. But I mean, just the usual when we rank things. And then
Aiden just copied
ours is the exact same.
He basically did. And then he copied my Loki placement.
Hey, what can I say? What can I say? You say, what can I say? Y'all swayed me. All right, man.
Yeah.
Caught me
and then in a couple weeks here, we will be back once Aiden is back from the honeymoon. And we have a couple of movies coming out. Excited to talk about. We'll be covering Ballerina, How to Train Your Dragon, probably talking about The Bear as we get closer to the new season of that show. Ironheart's coming up. There's lots of things coming up as we get into June and July. Lots of big things.
I can't wait for Aiden to change it, dude. He's gonna change his tune so bad. He's gonna be like, "Yo, this show is peak," and he's gonna say that on Twitter, bro. And I'll be like, "All right, buddy. All right, pal." Same thing he did with Spider-Man, bro.
I'll be sure to tag you in that post, buddy. I'll be sure to tag you in that post.
Golly, man, the biggest Spider-Man D-rider now, bro.
It is
the biggest Spider-Man animated show D-rider. And dude, a month, like, bro, nobody cares about this Spider-Man show. That's crazy. That's so crazy.
Whatever, buddy. Overcompensating over here.
All right, pal.
The 180 to how defensive you became on the episodes was kind of wild. You guys just don't get Peter Parker like me. Like I've been a fan since I was a kid.
I mean, literally.
Who's got the tattoo?
Literally, did Ben not do the same exact thing with Thunderbolts? Did you not do the exact same thing with Thunderbolts? We've been over this. You overcompensate.
Well, hold on. I changed my mind before it came out, though.
He has a whole YouTube video. Thunderbolts might not work. Thunderbolts, I don't know if this team is real interesting.
Here's the difference.
The exact thing.
Here's the difference. From the very beginning, I'm willing to say, I hope I'm wrong because I want it to be good. And then when I'm wrong, I was saying the exact
same thing.
When Spider-Man came out, you did not say, "Oh man, I was wrong. This show's great." You just said, "Man, this is peak. You guys just don't get it." Like you acted like you were always on the team.
No, not once did I ever say, "Bro, no, you don't listen because you're little vacations, buddy." I sat there with Charlie and I said in that episode, I did not think this was going to be good. I did not care about this at all. And I'm loving it. And I'm glad that they proved me wrong. Yeah, you. This is on you and your vacations. You didn't listen to our episode.
Charlie, pick a side. Whose side are you on?
Hey, bro, wait. I already said my take, dog. This is y'all now, bro. This is Black Widow and Eternals all over again. Let's go.
Dude,
another instance where I admitted I was wrong. Thank you, Charlie.
That's true.
Inadvertently choosing a side.
Yeah.
Bro, go get married, bro. Go get married, dog.
Yeah, you have a thing this weekend, man. You have a thing.
I have a thing this weekend.
Yeah, we will hopefully be back in a couple of weeks if we are still talking to each other to cover the next movies and shows coming out this year. It's been a crazy year so far. It's crazy to think we're about to hit June. Just wild how fast time has flown by just with everything that's been coming out. So we're excited
we're
for
about
all
to hit
that.
100 episodes. 100
and about
episodes.
to hit 100 episode, which is very exciting.
Very exciting.
So make sure to check in these coming weeks as we have more awesome discussions. If you're still around, thank you so much. Hit that like button, subscribe. If you are not, hit us with the rating on the audio listening platform. And we have been the Words from the Nerds. Thank you all very much, and we will see you next time. Sayonara.
Adios.
I'll do it with my ring finger.